And we're back with another episode of Dine with the Browns, baby. What is up, boys?
Let's go!
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead.
I'm
I'm
not
not
dead.
dead. That's what the
Mac,
Browns
you're
said.
saying another crappy movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
First of all, okay. All right. Easy there. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, one of the funniest movies of all time.
I didn't
I
laugh.
mean,
at
it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny.
it's a classic.
I'm feeling a bit better.
I want to say first and foremost, I'm seeing the chain. I'm seeing the chain.
Yeah.
KFC. Is that the thing you wanted to show me pre-show?
Yeah, you see this?
That drip is nice for the listeners on the podcast. We got that. That's from the gift shop, right? That
No,
dog
dude.
chain.
Denzel Ward snatched a chain on Saturday, and he said,
he
"You know
did.
what,
He did get an
KFC? I
interception.
see you in the stands. I see you, bro."
I'm gonna hook you up. It's a KFC's rocking the. He's rocking the.
Oh, let's go! We chain snatching.
No way!
High
Mac and Cheese also
profiling,
has a
chain snatching, Dine with the Browns, baby.
Let's go,
back.
baby. Let's go, man.
Well,
Pick
you
us up
guys-
for $25 in the Muni Lot from some random dude.
Oh. Honestly, that's a good cat. That's a good deal.
That
That's a good
is.
deal in my opinion.
Oh, do you guys hear that?
Do you hear that?
Oh man, that's way too loud. I don't know how you guys don't hear it. It's what's the Buffalo Herd?
With the Buffalo Herd, baby.
Remember, guys, doesn't matter what time you live stream when no one watches it. This is Mac with What the Buffalo Heard. Welcome in, Browns fans, and happy Victory Monday as the Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens 13-3. While a win, the game was uglier than downtown Baltimore in broad daylight as the Browns only put up 283 yards of total offense. Normally, this would bother Browns fans, but after what they have witnessed this year, they are okay with anything that results in a W. According to ESPN, the Browns' playoff chances jumped from 0.4% to 0.7% this weekend after Saturday's win. To fans, any chance is better than zero, even though there's a better chance of this podcast having all four members present and starting on time. We're 1 for 2 today, guys, so, great job. During the game, a fan was spotted in the crowd reading a Denny's menu. It was unsure if he was mocking Kevin Stefanski, as the head coach is always seen on game days, with his head buried in the play sheet. It definitely seems so, as the fan was again spotted signaling at Nick Chubb to get off the field and telling multiple people, "I need to do better." Lastly, I'd like to take this time to wish a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of our listeners and followers as the Browns take on the New Orleans Saints on Christmas Eve. Hopefully, since the starting quarterback this year is different, no one on the Browns will ruin our holiday season this time around. This is Mac with What the Buffalo Heard.
That was good.
Good.
That was very good. That was
Did I
very
hear
good.
sick slander from Mac?
I'm just going to say this right now. Twitter will eat itself if Baker throws 4 picks during the the Broncos-Rams game on Christmas Day.
I mean, the only way that whole situation even finds like a medium is that if Baker has an average, because like if he even has any slight bit of success, they're gonna freak out. If he even has like not even an interception, like if he just loses the ball one time and just has one random fumble, Twitter will eat at him. He had a game-winning drive last time around, and people were still crapping on him. Like they showed a video of him completing a pass, and then it was what was it? Baker hasn't been cooking this season or whatever. But it's crazy. Like wherever that guy goes and whatever he does, there's just an absolutely like outrageous reaction on both sides.
Yeah,
Speaking of outrageous outbreaks, I would like to message to all the Cleveland. Where did Manny go? Anyways, I would like to send the APB out for my Pit Vipers to the city of Cleveland. They are missing. I'm not the same without them, and I have cried since I found out that I do not have them. So,
Someone,
hey, Kimosabe.
please.
Kimosabe. Those are that's life telling you that maybe you need to get a different kind of like sunglasses.
well, I've got Ray-Bans right here.
Oh, see, those are fly.
wow.
Ray-Bans are
So
fly.
why don't you
Ray-Bans-
wear the? You have Ray-Bans,
with
but you're walking
Ray-Bans,
around with
man?
Pit Vipers.
Because they hurt my
Make that make
eyeballs,
sense.
bro.
The
Like, they got
The Ray-Bans are fly. The
They
Ray-Bans are
got these
fly.
little thingy
Ray-Bans.
bobbers in them. You see that? Like that? They just
What-
they drive right into my nose, not nostrils, and it's annoying.
So let's get in. Let's first and foremost, let's get into this. This Browns, this Ravens at Browns recap. I want to hear some of your guys' first overall, reactions to this game. It was your typical AFC North football game. It was low scoring. A lot of defensive plays. The Baltimore Ravens lost to the Cleveland Browns. It was 13-3. And, you got a touchdown pass out of Watson. You got some interception from Denzel Ward. You got a blocked field goal. Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker of all time, did not look like the greatest kicker of all time on Saturday night. So I want to kind of start off with some big reactions. Mac, we'll go first. We'll go Mac and then Matty G and then Christian. What's some of your reactions to this game?
So this just reminds me of the Detroit Lions game from last year. Simple as that. You're going up against a backup quarterback. A team that's kind of a little bit hit with injuries. The Browns, despite, and in my opinion, I feel like everything just went right for them. And with that, you still, even if the whole entire game is going for you, you still have to make those, 5 to 10 plays that decide the game. And for once, the Browns made those plays, and it was awesome to see.
Right.
Defense, their run defense was just as bad as it usually is.
Yeah.
Between Taven Bryan and Alex Wright, they were out of their gaps, about 7 times, and it resulted in huge runs. Now, J.K. Dobbins was averaging 9 yards a carry. Gus Edwards was averaging over 7 yards a carry, and for some reason, Greg Roman only decided to run the ball 20 times. You know what I mean? So it's like everything kind of went right for the Browns, but they still made those plays so that way they would win the game. And it was awesome to see. Now, as much as, you call an ugly win ugly, it's still a win.
It's still a win,
So,
right? It's still a win.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a crucial loss.
It was a
for the
crucial loss
Ravens.
for the Ravens. Crucial loss for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to try to keep those playoff hopes. What is it? 0.7% chance up and at them.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. So, we only need a couple of things to happen before we go to Matty G. I just want to say we have a couple of things to happen. Obviously, we just need the Patriots to only win one more game. The Jets to only win one more game because they'll finish 8-9. Both of them will finish 8-9. And if we win out, we'll have a better record than them. So the head-to-head won't matter. But the hardest thing I think we would need to win to get a wild card spot here is the LA Chargers losing out. I think that's going to be very difficult because they play the Colts, they play the Rams.
Right.
It's escaping me the last team they play, but it's not a very good matchup. Looking at that,
If Baker Mayfield
That's
is
what I
the
was
reason
thinking.
why the Browns are going to the playoffs this year, that is
he can help us out.
insane.
He can
Like, even
Baker,
the
bro.
biggest haters are going to be like looking
I
at
was
the
17.
TV. Everybody's going to break out the old jerseys. Everybody's going to be wearing headbands like
Right with
this.
17.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Ride with 17.
Yeah, right with 17, baby.
Yo, Matty G, talk to me. How do you feel about that game? 13-3, high scoring baseball game numbers. What do you think?
Overall, I think I thought it was kind of a disappointment. I'll be honest with you. The Browns didn't even have 300 yards of offense. The Ravens came into the game as a 26th ranked pass defense, and the Browns really didn't challenge them that much. It didn't feel like. I kind of thought that the play calling got a little bit conservative. I thought you did get to see a little bit of what DW4 can do. That 3rd and 9 run he had, where it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen from a quarterback, where he stayed in the pocket and let all the blitzers from Baltimore over pursue. So he just stepped up in the pocket and took off. That was a thing of beauty. That was great anticipation. However, I thought he played well in spite of the game plan. I thought it was pretty obvious early that the run game was not working. And let's be honest here, the run, like Mac had said earlier, the run game hasn't been the same since week 9. I think you've seen Chubb take a noticeable step back. He's not hitting the hole as much as he was like previous weeks. The one thing, and I had started to wonder, and I'd seen someone kind of suggest, and I know people don't want to hear me say this, do you think that Nick Chubb's run out of gas? Because if you notice this time last year, when he hits about 800, 900 yards on the ground, he kind of just seems to be a little bit slower. Like he doesn't have the same burst he did week 1 through week 5. He wasn't the same wrecking crew. Arguably, like I will say this, I think there needs to be a really, really, really long discussion had about Wyatt Teller in the offseason. I don't think he's that good. I'll be honest with you. I think he's kind of overrated. Let's be honest here. But as you guys are shocked, before his injury, before his injury, he was the second ranked guard in Pro Football Focus through 6 weeks. Now he's ranked number 72 since then. Back-to-back years, you've seen significant drop-off from Teller once he's gotten hurt. He'll have good games, but up until it's that same calf that keeps bothering him. It bothered him in 2020. Every time he hurts it, there's a drop-off. I was not a fan.
Does that third string center not help? Does the horrible offensive play by Jack Conklin not help? He has to do so much. He has to do so much.
Help him, Manny. This is a pattern.
He had a good
yes, he had a good game overall in PFF. But the thing with Wyatt Teller is, and God bless him, I absolutely love him, kind of as like a person and as a player. But his pass protection has not improved. I mean, he got bullied on Saturday. It was pretty bad. He caught a blitz. He caught a blitz from Patrick Queen right in the mouth, and he got walked back. You know what I mean? It's been tough to watch at times. Now, granted, is that part of his calf? Sure, but it's definitely because especially with the. I understand that, but it's just
like DJ Reader is not some scrub. You know what I mean? Like and I get that, get that, but you know what I mean? Like
he's the highest paid guard in the NFL at this point. I think outside of Nelson, exactly. He's not living up to his production. Like I honestly think they should. If I was Andrew Berry, we're going to get to this later in the show. I think fans are going to have to understand that this offseason is going to be pretty brutal. This is, I think, going to be the Order 66 of the Browns. You're going to see a lot of fan favorites, I think, gone. And I was talking to someone in the know to where I think there's a pretty shocking name where there was a troll article that was written about getting rid of said player. That's not as much of a troll as people want it to be. And I think that Teller is up there among those guys. Because think about it. You trade Teller, you get what? 4th round pick, 4th round pick, clear some cap space. You got Nick Harris ready to go. Nick Harris, you've already played at guard. Play Nick Harris at right guard. You got Ethan Posick. Your offensive line doesn't miss that much of a beat. Like, this is what championship teams have to do. And I understand, and this is why, we'll get to later, why I think Stefanski has not earned the right to come back. This window of the Dorsey-Sashi built team it closes at the end of the season. It's done. It's over. It opened in 2019 and it's closing this year. You have to basically partially reset. It sucks.
Well, listen, first and foremost, this is a recap of the Baltimore Ravens and Browns. All right. First and foremost, I don't even want to start. I don't want to hear this nonsense so early up in the show.
Yeah.
Right. So Christian, you can go. All
right. Because I'm gonna since the Debbie Downer crew at the bottom of the screen has already went, I'm gonna spread some positivity. How about John Johnson regrouping from missing 2 early tackles? Hear me out. He missed 2 early tackles.
2 big tackles.
Yes, he did.
He missed 2.
Yeah, that was. I hate to agree with Matty G, but yeah,
he had 9 tackles overall, forced a fumble and a pass deflection. I mean, regrouped great. Grant Delpit was in the box a lot. This game had 9 tackles himself, 2 tackles for a loss. Myles Garrett coming down at the end of the game, making 2 clutch sacks with Scooter to ice the game pretty much late. And DW4, he started showing some more glimpses. He was reading. He read the field pretty good. The weather was probably throwing him off because he's probably not played a home game in that type of weather just yet. And he looked pretty good to me. I thought he was reading everything well. And the team got behind that leadership. And I love that.
Yeah.
So his voice is being heard and they're playing good for their quarterback,
You see it.
Absolutely.
See it. And honestly, G. Bush on Locked On Browns, shout out to Locked On Browns. G. Bush and the Bull already kind of talked about this and touched on that point that Deshaun Watson just looks a little bit more confident, a little bit more like a leader in the pocket. You see him in the huddle and you see him when he's going up to the line. He's finally able to kill some of the plays that were originally drawn up for him. I do want to, Christian, if you want to throw up that one pass to Amari Cooper. I mean, this was just a beautiful shot. I know it was talked about. I can't. You can't. It went away. Oh, yeah, so I think that honestly, if you're kind of talking about it from a standpoint of just being able to go into the game on your third game. Deshaun Watson's looking very, very, very comfortable out there on his third shot. I want to throw that on there. I want to mute that, but obviously in this drop back pass, you kind of see him looking out and hitting Amari Cooper right outside the numbers, right at the so right now out of bounds. Honestly, that's a really difficult throw. That's not the easiest throw to make.
Across the body too.
Exactly. So it's just sorry that it cut you out there, Mac. It's just look at the draw.
Oh no,
but
especially and I don't mean to cut you off, Manny, but like Deshaun Watson, I thought he got a little bit of unnecessary hate for his play on the field this weekend. I thought he played pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd have 2 touchdown passes if Njoku would have caught that. And let's be honest, he put it only where Njoku could get it.
Yes.
I rewatched the game here. I really only counted 3 misses. 2 of them were to Chubb. Just let him a little bit too much both times. One of them he had to, or is it going to get swatted down? And then the other miss was just kind of on the RPO. Now it was still caught. But him and Stefanski have to figure out the RPO and in terms of his footwork, because they've been low every single time that they've tried it.
Yeah.
No turnovers, no stupid plays. He took what the defense gave him, which is, that's what you want to see out of your quarterback. And what he does and I feel like I'm just beating the same old drum, but what he does for this rushing offense is awesome to see. And, especially for the read option, and just like, there's not so much trailing on the backside. And, anytime that the defender doesn't have contained, he's going to pull it. And every time Deshaun takes off, it's at least a 5-yard gain, which is, great for this offense. So.
I just want to shout out to Jeff. Jeff says, I'm just so happy that Matty G finally got a desk. That's fantastic. I completely agree. He looks fantastic and so good sitting there at the desk with his chain on. I do want to talk about the fact that Nick Chubb had 99 yards. Isn't it nice to see Nick Chubb able to have a very good game with Deshaun Watson? I think that's fantastic, because a lot of people were talking about, his yardage and things like that depleting with Deshaun Watson comes in, and they might not use Nick Chubb enough. I like to see that he had 21 carries. I like to see that out of him. That was a fantastic job of just getting him the ball. And that goes to Mac's point about, if you give Nick Chubb 20 plus carries, there's a dub. It's so funny because it's just like, hey, is this dub chalked up to that? I don't know. But I will say, I cannot believe. Is it weird to say that we're lucky that Justin Tucker, the GOAT of all GOAT kickers, did not have a good game? He did like to be blocked.
That was
insane. And to miss a field goal.
Shout out to Jordan Elliott, by the way.
That was good penetration. I'd never seen Justin Tucker miss ever, whether it be in person or on TV. So that was pretty
on TV. Never seen him win. I don't know the stats there, but I know he's just automatic. It seems like he was on a streak there of 88 or 89 kicks that he's made. I think it was inside the 40. I don't know what he got blocked on. I don't remember. But the fact
it's been 2 years since he missed inside the 40, which was absolutely insane to see. It was almost coming up. So the last time that he missed it was like a 12-20-22 of like 2020, I think.
Wow. And
they showed the graphic, during the game.
It's very, and honestly, what would have that done? I don't know. Like if you get that, all right, now it's 13-9. Now it's a really high scoring baseball game. Who knows? I don't know. I just think that offensively, I think it helped out a little bit because it changed our game plan of what we should and shouldn't be doing. Just because they didn't have that good of a game. I do want to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Who you highlighted this already, Christian. Man, Perion Winfrey. Did you see Perion Winfrey make some plays? I don't think we're going to talk enough about it. Scooter Bar. I don't think we talk enough about it because, maybe that sitting down kind of like having him sit out and, that discipline kind of straighten him out. Would you guys say that it straightened him out?
Yeah, it might have. It might have. I mean, he's significantly improved.
I think he had some sense knocked into him. I'm be honest.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I think it's a little bit of that, and I think it's of the past several weeks since the since the Bengals game, that first Bengals game, no one outside of Myles Garrett has really done anything in terms of pass rush. So I think everybody just kind of collectively is looking at each other and just saying, hey, I want to help out my team captain. I want to help out one of the best players on this team because not only is he the highest double teamed, pass rusher in the NFL, he has the highest win rate. But yet the Browns are like bottom 10 in the league in pressures. So it's just like we're just kind of waiting for somebody. And, I don't like to crap on players, but, like I was saying earlier, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times Alex Wright got out, was out of his gap during a run. So 5-yard gain of 12, gain of 5, gain of 7, gain of 24.
What did you see his PFF grade? It was like a 25. It's 25.5.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's.
Oh, my bad.
Really
29.6. 29.6.
Yeah.
His tackling was 21.8.
It was so bad at times that Joe Woods decided to put Taven Bryant at defensive end for a couple snaps, and that wasn't much better because so 1, 2, 3 times, gain of 25, 3-yard gain of 35. It's just like guys are getting like they're so as a defensive end, there's this term called setting the edge. You're not supposed to let anybody outside of you. Well, the problem is they take too far inside, they get washed either by like a double team or just some guy walling them off. Running back or quarterback will go right by them, and especially a lot of people don't understand this, but on defense it really does take all 11. Because if one person is out of their gap, that's how the ball gets sprung. And that's how you see all these big plays. A lot of times it's not that it's perfectly blocked, but some guy's just out of his gap.
Do you think that the way, this is a slight shift back to the offensive side of the ball, but this is just a question that popped in my head. And I wanted to ask you guys, do you think we need Amari Cooper the way Donovan Peoples-Jones is playing? Or do you think that Donovan Peoples-Jones is a product of Amari Cooper being there?
Yes.
Okay. Yes to what? What is that yes to?
We need Amari Cooper.
We need Amari Cooper.
He's down right now too. Like he's not playing up to what he can because of his hip.
Right.
That hip's bothering him pretty bad. You can kind of see it in his route running.
Right. Okay. But do you think do you think we just need essentially is Donovan Peoples-Jones potentially a wide receiver 1, or will he never get there because it's the experiment?
He'll get there. He'll get there. Yeah,
I think
years.
We'll get this into when we get into some of the more Stefanski war stuff. I have kind of like an estimated roster going forward, and I'll kind of explain some stuff. I think you see DPJ take over as wide receiver 1 this time next year, and I'll leave it at that.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm curious to see what that means to Amari Cooper. But what were you saying, Mac?
So in the reason why Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I've talked about this before, but he's finally getting those one-on-one matchups, and he could beat those one-on-one matchups. The problem was, and the reason why you didn't see a lot of this last year were 2 things. One of them was his groin. He just fully couldn't stretch his body. And number 2 is that he wasn't getting those one-on-one matchups because teams were like, okay, we're just going to double him because nobody else is going to beat us.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? You need both guys because, if Amari Cooper goes down, they're going to double team DPJ, and then somebody else has got to get going here. But one of the cool things, another good week out of Njoku, he's the new check down guy for me.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why Kareem Hunt has gotten, less targets, less touches, because Stefanski finally kind of woke up with his, idea of David Njoku. Because I remember this time last year, I was just mind boggled by his use. We'd see Austin Hooper Austin Hooper try to run a 3-yard route, trip ball, and then fall down.
Yeah.
So,
hands.
Yeah. Oh. So, David Njoku is not talked about enough in this offense. I really like the job that he did last year, and he just, what I mean. He's the first, in terms of, now, granted, off the top of my head, I believe Nick Chubb and Amari are 1 and 2 in terms of most first downs on this team, but David Njoku is up there, and it's almost like he's kind of like that guy to look for, in the middle of the field on 3rd down. So,
yeah, I think that. Go ahead, Christian. Do you want to say something?
Oh, I was gonna kind of piggyback off of that Amari Cooper question.
Yeah.
I know it's a long shot, and actually, I don't think it's that big of a long shot. But Sammy Watkins did get dropped. Do you think the Browns maybe like just take a little,
I
just
think-
a
I
tad
think
bit
with-
cap hit?
I think
pick 'em
with
up?
listen, Max saying no. Since I'm the wide receiver savant that I am, I don't care. Honestly, I still would take Odell Beckham right now. I really would. But that's neither here nor there. But I think that Sammy Watkins would be a great addition. Look, I like what I saw out of Baldwin. Dalen Baldwin, didn't we just
Yep.
pick him up? You know what I mean? The 2 catches he had.
So
2
wait.
catches,
Who? No, but seriously, like,
Yeah,
like,
seriously,
who is this guy?
seriously.
He wasn't. So I want to tell
Seriously.
everybody listening at home. So that happened. I'm with my whole family. For my grandpa's birthday, it was awesome. Everybody was like kind of huddled around the TV watching the game. But this guy, this Dalen Baldwin,
Mhm.
out of nowhere catches 2 big 10-yard passes in a row, and everybody's looking at me and they're like, "Who is this guy? This 17?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they're like, "You're supposed to be the expert." So I Googled this, and I'm looking through like
He played at Michigan, didn't he?
I go in the
He did.
yes,
He played at
so
Michigan,
he was a transfer from somewhere, but he played at Michigan. But he was not listed on the roster so Saturday when I was watching the game, I was on the official Browns website. He was not listed.
He's not there.
On the
Yep,
roster.
He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
This guy just came out of nowhere, and it was really cool to see.
No profile picture or anything.
Was he
No,
on the?
No, like
Was he here during the preseason?
No, I
don't think so.
I feel like I've heard his name before with the Browns, or maybe like early
I'm almost
training camp.
positive we just acquire him like 2 weeks ago.
Like maybe like a preseason or
you're-
training camp
you're
type of
thinking
guy.
of that,
Dalen
that
Baldwin,
other.
he's been here before. I can look that up.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
But,
that's
but,
what I've heard that name before is a thing. That's why I was kind of.
He
but
might have been
shout out,
here
and he had those 2 catches. I think it was within.
They're back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was with the Browns. He was with the Browns in training camp. Then he was on the practice squad, and they just called him up.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff said
Oh.
I'd rather play the young guy. He let the young guys play over getting Watkins.
I agree.
I agree to that because I do want to see a little bit more of Michael Woods. And honestly, I'm intrigued with this Baldwin guy. He's taken advantage of the time he's getting, and I like players like that because they won't let it go. You figure I'm not saying Dalen Baldwin's going to be a Cooper Kupp, but you see Cooper Kupp takes advantage of the opportunities, and he's just going crazy. So I think and Jeff said he says he thinks that Baldwin was on the team preseason.
He was.
Yeah. So
Wait, hold on. Is Jeff's like profile picture wearing a Down with the Brown shirt?
Yeah, it is.
Look
That's
how
sick.
Let's
How
go.
awesome
Sick.
is that?
Shout out to Jeff, dude.
Jeff's a
Shout out to
dog.
Jeff. Shout out to
Super
Jeff.
fan, Jeff.
What's
Dog
up,
of the
MC?
week.
MC
Yes.
MC Lawrence is in the house. What's up?
And
How we doing?
MC.
So I honestly, I think having those options out there could potentially be a good thing because of Anthony Schwartz going down, and who knows if we're going to even keep Jakeem Grant. That's a very interesting concept even of itself. But with having the injury bug in the wide receiver room and having a guy step up like Baldwin, 2 catches can go a long way. And I think he had 2 catches on the same drive. I think it was.
Yeah, they were back to back.
They were back to
Yeah,
back,
it was
right?
back-to-back plays.
So
Yeah,
I was
back-to-back
like,
plays.
wait a second, who is that?
Who is
on
this guy?
earth
Yeah.
is that? And we do a podcast here on the
See,
Brown
I had
Brown.
him confused with the guy we just picked up from the Bucks.
Yeah, that's what. Who is
Yeah.
that? Who is that? Who we just got from the Bucks? What's his name? Does it start with a B as well? I don't know. We could find that out.
We'll get back to you on that.
We'll
And the
get
crazy
back to
part
it.
about it is that dude's been inactive for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
So-
it's just it makes me. That's why I don't. It doesn't make me rush for a Sammy Watkins, and it doesn't make me rush for an Odell Beckham. But I do like that. I do like the wide receiver unit we have. I do still think that we get a bigger name from somewhere else to start next season, even if that's a Brandon Cooks or something. Obviously the highest would be a DeAndre Hopkins. That would be insane. I have no idea how that would even work, but if they realize that his time is up in Phoenix, shout out to KFC. He was the one who was talking about that. So having a wide receiver in there, I think would be great. But again, you have these young guys who are definitely doing their thing and showing out. So can't have any concerns.
Here
there.
we
Court's
go.
in order, baby. It's
No.
time to get what everybody's wanting to hear. Matty G versus Manuel Maxwell.
Wait, am I not included in this?
What
Are you
up?
serious?
They're the main
You-
headliners. Me and you're just
Bro,
kind
I
of.
have 2 pages worth of stuff.
Well, you
I-
can tag on. You guys can two on
I
one him.
literally okay, all right.
Okay, Mac. We all like this is
Tag team.
Okay, all right.
I
I just want to make sure, dude. I spent some time on this.
I spent some time on this too. I got some.
All right.
Manny was running his mouth and he got me upset. And
It don't piss me off, Clark.
Let's please.
excellent promo, on his part.
Yeah.
But like that,
Yeah,
that was
out of
hilarious.
nowhere, he just dropped
was
the
really
bomb
funny,
on
yeah.
me. I was like, okay. Like,
Yeah,
I guess-
it was needed. It was needed. It was needed.
so-
It was needed. We can go. So how does the order work?
So I'm gonna let Matty G go first,
Okay.
then Manny, then Mac, and then I'm gonna end the debate.
Cool.
So
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Are we going how many minutes uninterrupted without anyone interrupting?
let's say 3.
Let's go 3. We can
Here,
go
I'll set a timer and
because then we can all afterward get in on
let's
this.
let me get there. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Gentlemen, so what does the number -46 mean to you? What does that number mean?
It's
That is the Browns' point differential under Kevin Stefanski. -46. Do you know how hard that is to do when you've won more games than you've lost? Do you know how hard that is? That's extremely, extremely unlikely. How about the number 3? That's the number of games that the Browns have had a 95% chance to win the ball game with less than 4 minutes to go and have lost. 2 of those have come this season against the Chargers and the Jets. Those 2 statistics alone should tell you right away that this man is a fraud. But now I have one more statistic for you. 0-16. That is Kevin Stefanski's record against the following quarterbacks: Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger, Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. So you're trying to tell me that this guy should say the head coach when in the past 3 years he's proven numerous things. He can't win big games. His team constantly gets blown out. And he can't beat the best of the rest. He can't beat the best of the best. The quarterbacks I just listed here, like you can say what you want about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a top 12 QB. Kevin Stefanski's 0-1 against him. And the Browns then followed it up with his game plan, losing to Derek Carr within 2 extra days of preparation in Cleveland. His precious defense melted as the Raiders drove down the field and Daniel Carlson hit a 49-yard field goal for the win. Or how about he had the chance to
Manny Lefty got nothing.
Hold up. He got a minute left. Keep going.
So when you look at this situation, let's also look at this. The playoff win. The playoff win doesn't count, if we're being honest, for Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski did not beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Prefer did. Keep that in mind. Mike Prefer is who beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, not Kevin Stefanski. So I ask you, members of the jury and the audience, do you want to win or do you want to be just okay? Because Kevin Stefanski can make you just okay, but so did Jeff Fisher, so did Matt Nagy, and so did Frederick Kitchens. And I ask you, are those the names you want to be involved with? I rest my case.
With 13 seconds left on the clock.
You
All
good?
right.
Wow.
Right,
You good?
ready? 3, 2, and 1.
I'm going to take a dramatic pause before I even start because it's just truly a shame what Matty G has just done and what Mac is going to attempt to do. And that is lead the people astray from the truth about Kevin Stefanski. That's very cute, Matty G. Very cute. Very, very, very cute. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Matty G said 95% loss win percentage possibility versus the Chargers and Jets. I would like to point out a really key, most important piece of evidence. That was without Deshaun Watson, okay? 0-16 versus those beautiful lists of quarterbacks. I have something to say to that piece of evidence. That was without Deshaun Watson. And I've told you already about the wonderful, wonderful color palette that he has with Deshaun Watson right now. And how dare you bring all that up without mentioning the full color palette that he has right now with one Deshaun Watson. I want to bring up some stats right now for you. Deshaun Watson completion percentage over the past 3 games. People want to talk about Kevin Stefanski's offense at this moment. But I want to bring it up, and let me take this banner off first and foremost. Let me hide this banner so everybody can see. Houston completion percentage, 54.5 goes up for Cincinnati. 61.9 goes up versus Baltimore. 64.3, that is Kevin Stefanski game planning for Deshaun Watson, getting him better. That's Deshaun Watson. Let me give you another slide really quickly. Deshaun Watson's passer rating, Houston, goes up, was out of 53.4. Add another 20 to that. What you get, that's Cincinnati, 79.1. Add another 20, that's Baltimore, 91.5. Are we really going to, do you really want me to go a little bit further? And I'm going to go a little bit further since Matty G likes analytics and his finance himself. Let me talk about the touchdowns right now. I got red and green. Merry Christmas to those. Yeah. Look at Mr. Miyagi, Mac right here trying to put up some signs. Don't tell them, jury. Don't just let him distract you. Don't let it happen. Touchdowns right now. Houston, he has 1 turnover, no touchdowns. Cincinnati, 1-1, 1 touchdown, 1 turnover. Then Baltimore, 1 touchdown, 1 turnover. You want to know what's happening in NOLA in that cold weather? Come on, you can do the math. Do the math. Think about it. Do deductive reasoning, jury, please. Don't listen to these people who are going to tell you and try to bring you down. They're claiming to be Cleveland Browns fans, but they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to talk about the truth. I got 10 seconds left, and I'm not even going to take a breath. I want you to know, don't let them get you down. Don't let them get you in the dirt. I'm telling you, raise up from the ashes and believe in Kevin Stefanski. He's getting better. Watch the trend.
So,
All right.
I'm going to take you to school, Daniel, son. So watch this, Kimosabe.
That's me.
So
right.
first,
All right. Wait.
would
Hold
you
up.
agree?
You got to honor the clock.
Honor
okay?
the clock back. Look at this guy
Oh,
already,
okay.
jury. Look at already. He's breaking the
He's
rules.
already
jury.
out of order.
Already.
Get him out of here.
Already.
All right. 3, 2.
Quick question for everybody before I begin. Would you say that Kevin Stefanski's impact is mostly on offense? Yes or no? The reason why we want to see him stay in Cleveland is because of his offense. Yes.
Are
or
we
no?
allowed to answer the question?
It's
Yeah, go ahead.
uninterrupted.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just make sure you remember that this entire time. So the big thing with Stefanski is he really has issues getting his star players the ball, and it's kind of insane. Between the issues with the Chubb's carries earlier on in the year, the fact that he didn't find out how to use David Njoku till his 3rd year with the team, and the funny thing is that everybody gets so upset when we say that he's a good-looking Freddie Kitchens. So his 3rd down conversion is only 1% higher in 2019. We're talking about 37.5% versus 36.2. And he actually has a worse red zone conversion rate than Freddie Kitchens. In 2019, it was 58%. In 2022, it's 54.2%. So it's when it matters most, when you have to score, when you're in the red zone, you have to take advantage of those opportunities. He just hasn't been able to do it. And, to go even further, let's just say, okay, Stefanski is a quarterback guru, right? That's why we brought in Deshaun Watson to pair them together, right? So why is the completion percentage and the passer rating dropping so dramatically between 1st and 2nd down compared to 3rd and 4th down? Look at this. So second down here, 63% completion percentage with an 83 passer rating. This is what the quarterback's been dealing with all year. So when you go into 3rd down, it's 57%. It's a passer rating of 77. On 4th down, on the most important down, you want to keep going with it with all these analytics, right? Because that's what the calculator tells you to do. 35% completion percentage and a 70 passer rating. So there's so many numbers to tell you that Kevin Stefanski just like if you're doing it solely, and I'll say this, the 27 seconds that I have left, I'll say this, if you are just keeping Kevin Stefanski solely for offensive purposes, that's the dumbest thing in the history of this organization that they can do. Now, if he's here for leadership, if he's going to actually get this defense in line, if he's going to get the special teams in line, great. I'm all for it. I'm all for continuity. But if he continues on this path that he has this season, he needs to go.
Okay, is it a free for
All
all?
right.
Is it a free
Hold
for-
up. No,
No, Christian. Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead, please.
Now,
Yeah,
before I
please,
start,
please, because I want to say something.
That honestly, it's the Browns. That's not the dumbest thing they've ever done. I can recall a draft class back in 2014 when about everybody picked in that first round are all pro, multiple time Pro Bowlers, and we picked the two guys that weren't.
Yeah, no,
That was the dumbest thing
this
this franchise has ever done. Okay,
I'll say that. Let the record show that was a little bit much because there have been a lot more dumb decisions. So yeah,
that was a pretty bad one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me. I'll start the timer. All right,
So talk
mine's
that
not
talk.
even. Mine's not even going to take 3 minutes. I'm just going to hit you with some facts. All right, it started. So, about yesterday, Adam Schefter reported the NFL officials have informed that the owners of the league, 32 franchises that the team have spent $800 million in fired coaches and front office executives over the past 5 years. The NFL is trying to get them to cut back on that. So, I was thinking, how many people have the Browns fired over the last about 5 years? I can think of 3 head coaches.
Damn near everybody.
And 2 GMs and the entire front office staff and coaching staff 3 times in the last 5 years. So I think that the Browns are going to keep. I know this is going to hurt. I think Joe Woods is even going to be back next year. I think the whole staff, I think everybody is coming back next year, whether we like it or not. That's facts or not facts.
And the crazy part about it is that even though, the offensive that they've been playing, have been struggling, the Browns defenses have take advantage. You know what I mean? So they went from, Jake Trotter reported, they went from 32nd, efficiency to now 17th in the league. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be little things that they're going to circle, that they're going to say, if we bring Joe Woods back, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But we're going to be doing this for the 3rd time in a row.
I'm telling you, bro, Joe Woods gets his team ready for when it's cold. I don't want him back. I'm just hitting you with the facts.
Nobody wants him back.
I don't want him back. I'm hitting you with the facts. They're not firing anybody.
I wanted Joe Woods fired since the Cowboys game.
Jeff said, if the Browns run it back all the way back,
I'm telling you, bro.
Well, Jeff, light your torches. Light your torches.
I'm telling you, I heard it. I read that yesterday.
Grab your riot shield and your
I read that yesterday, and then I heard Ken Carmen say it.
Yeah.
Over the air,
yeah.
he said, "Don't shoot the messenger, but it's more likely that he will be back than not be back, and that is why."
The only way. So, I'll let you go, Manny, in just a sec. The only way that I see them gone is they're just going to clean house completely. Yeah. There's no way that they're just going to let Joe Woods go because, again, and I'm about to get to this in a second. The only way that they go all out here is just if Jimmy Haslam just says, screw it, pisses the whole league off once again, and just completely cleans house, because there's no way that, especially with how this defense has been playing, the wig is about
Top
as
tier.
ridiculous as my headband. But there's no way that Kevin Stefanski is going to fire Joe Woods, especially if the defense continues on this tear that they've been, even though they've been playing bad offenses. But hey, this is the exact same season as 2021, apparently, with the defense just catching fire of late.
Yeah, it's weird that's happened 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
just halfway through the season, then it just turns on.
I want to say something really quickly, because I know Jeff was saying that we, the jury, find Kevin guilty of sucking, he's fired. I want to say something really quickly, because something that Mac and Matty G has combined to do. They work together on this one. Okay, Mac and Matty G are the type talking about this 2020 Freddie Kitchens and all the stats of the
2019, 2019,
2019, or you know what I mean, whatever the case. Listen,
doesn't even know it states.
Yeah, first and foremost, let me tell you something. Okay. What they're doing right now, they're the type to bring up how you acted and how you were doing with your ex-girl, right? How your life was with your ex-girl. How you looked a little bit big, a little bit bigger with your ex-girl. But you know what they're failing to realize what happened? How are you doing right now with your current girl? What kind of whip you're driving with your current girl, with your high credit score, hitting up the gym? Talk about my current girl. Talk about my exes. Talk about what was shown. You've seen the stats, Matty G. I showed you the stats. Show me the red zone stats with the
play this game. I mean,
it's up and up. I'm telling you, Kevin Stefanski haters, get him out of here.
This year, on average, the Browns offense are attempting 5.7 yards per attempt.
Now show me
the third down.
Now show me
third down. What's their goal? What's their down and distance on third down average? 6.8.
Let me fix my time.
So they're on average not getting it's absolutely insane in terms of third down and in the red zone. Like it's just he's supposed to be the offensive guy. He's supposed to be the offensive guru. Where's his trademark?
That average. That didn't answer my question. That average is with my ex-girl. That's taking.
No, that's this year. That's this year.
No. My ex-girl meaning Jacoby Brissett. I'm talking about Watson. Talk about my current girl. Talk about where's the stats with Watson. Bring him up with. I saw the splits. The splits are increasing. I bring up the slides again. Passer rating, completion percentage, turnover differential. Everything is increasing with my current girl. You got to talk to me about my current girl.
We're talking.
Jeff says which ex? Matty G's got like 50 exes. Yeah, we're struggling. And listen, and let me tell you, that James Brown look. Are we going to say bring Todd Haley or Freddie Kitchens? We are not going to say that on this podcast. We are not bringing back any Freddie Kitchens or Todd Haley. If anybody's bringing back Drake, go ahead, Matty G.
Todd Haley was fun.
If we're talking about girls, so let's just imagine, Manny, that you've been struggling in the. I know this is probably hard for Dr. Emmanuel Maxwell to struggle with. Imagine that you're struggling. You haven't really had the ladies throwing themselves at you. Been a lot of a dry spell. You're walking around, in the desert wandering, and all of a sudden you meet a girl, who, she likes you, she's nice to you, but your parents don't like her, your friends don't like her, she flirts with other dudes when you're around, maybe in the back of your head, maybe I could do better, but you know what? I'm happy with what I got. It's good enough. It's better than what I had. That is what Kevin Stefanski is to this fan base. When you look at this right now, and this fan base, how I see it is that you're dating this girl, who she's better than what you had. Your parent, your friends and parents keep telling you, maybe she's not the one. Maybe you could do better. You think maybe you can do better, and you're focusing on this girl when you have a blonde fitness model who volunteers at the homeless shelter and fosters puppies, who's throwing themselves at you. And that, in this analogy, would be like a Sean Payton, a DeMeco Ryans, a Jim Harbaugh, throwing themselves at you. That you'd be better with that. You'd enjoy your time more with this other girl, but you're so happy with the current girl you have. It's better than what I got. Why should I move on? That's what this is right now.
That is not what this is. The girl I'm talking about was the quarterback, and you're switching the girl to the
Oh, geez, they're even worse the last 3 games.
Listen. No, the last 3 games, and here's the thing, Mac, and listen.
Well, the last 2 defenses we played were pretty good.
Yes, first and foremost.
Let's be real.
First and foremost.
What did I just find here?
Now watch this. Let me tell you, and let me be honest with the jury before Matt goes. Listen, people are going to look at the totality of the stats, and what are they going to say? They're going to say the past 3 games with Watson, he's been trash. It's been ridiculous. It's been this. My point to you is that it's getting better. It's the progression. It is not the average, because if you're taking the average, you're instilling a whole new engine into that car, a whole new transmission into that car. And so that offense moving and chugging and working cohesively together, you're bringing a whole new quarterback who hasn't had the playbook since preseason and finally putting him in. And then people are going to look at the stats of the totality like Mac is about to do for you and say, well, it's not as good as compared to when Jacoby was it. Well, I'm telling you right now, give it a break. I'm showing you the progression of what it could be. Mac, go ahead.
Okay. So here's the last 3 games in terms of offense on third down. 4 for 13, 4 for 15, and then 5 for 12. So under 50% in all 3 games. 2 of them were actually under 30%, which is disgusting to even think about. And the Ravens again gave you this game. That's the point.
But was there progression? Can you let the jury know if there was progression in those third down conversions over the 3 games? There's progression, right?
Was there progression as Kevin Stefanski is a play caller this season? Because you have Marcus Peters. So you have Marcus Peters going to the locker room, but you're telling me that you want to target Marlon Humphreys one-on-one and not their other corner?
Over the past 3 games, you see the comfortability that Deshaun has with Kevin Stefanski's play calling.
But is that Deshaun Watson elevating a bad head coach?
Mm-hmm. No,
or is that a good marriage?
All right.
It's not a good marriage.
Well, look what happened to Baker Mayfield under Kevin Stefanski, and look what happened to Baker Mayfield in Carolina. Look what happened to Jacoby Brissett.
Look what Baker Mayfield did with Sean McVay.
Sure.
Bulls go.
In 48 hours.
First and foremost, everybody and their mama, including me, didn't know why on earth they were running press man coverage for Baker Mayfield's final game-winning drive. So don't get me there to catch John. No, that was press man. Everybody knew it. Baker Mayfield even said, I have no idea where they were playing man rather than playing a prevent kind of defense. They just whatever they had that was. And they just walked him down the field. So I don't want to hear any of that about Sean McVay. We're going to find out today on Monday Night Football. That's what I'll tell you that right now. Number 2, you look at Jacoby Brissett in Miami and Indianapolis coming over here. Kevin Stefanski revitalized
Manny? Jacoby Brissett's last season as a starter with the Indianapolis Colts, he threw for 18 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's what he was on pace for with the Cleveland Browns. So I don't really get what you're saying here. What you're grasping here, Manny, is what the entire Baker Bro argument was last year, that this is better than what we have. And it's not. Here's the thing is that I think
for 3 games, I'm telling you, with finally Watson, finally Stefanski gets a competent quarterback, is what I'm telling you. He's working with booty track.
Just brought up a great point. This is the most talent out of the 3 teams under Stefanski. This team, without a doubt, would you guys agree, has the most talent on it? Without a doubt across the board. This is the worst. This is the worst. This is the worst of the teams record-wise. This is the worst of all across numbers. This is the worst. And that's on the coaching staff. And the thing is that we've seen bad head coaches be elevated by quarterbacks. And I think the biggest difference, for example, let's go to our neighbors down I-71 South in Cincinnati, was Zach Taylor. Everyone agrees Zach Taylor is not a good head coach. He's being elevated by Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Lou Amarillo. That Bengals defense is a lot like Pete Davidson. I don't know how they do it, but they're really, really good. I don't know how. I couldn't tell you how.
So actually, Jacoby about had more yardage this year in the 11 games than he did back in 2019.
Talk to me, KFC. Talk to me.
He had 2,600 yards.
Lying to the tree.
Okay, there was a year he had 3,000. He had 3,000.
About passing yards. Who cares about passing yards when it's touchdowns?
You're averaging less than 2 touchdowns.
Can you
total offensive touchdowns a game?
Passing yards.
That's not good.
And can you name quickly what 2 wide receivers that were on that Indianapolis Colts team?
They had
T.Y. Hilton and Paris Campbell.
Okay, so do we have what's better there in Indianapolis?
Jack Doyle.
Listen. We're gonna find out. This is why I'm saying to keep Kevin Stefanski. My closing argument. Keep Kevin Stefanski because we're comparing apples to oranges. We need to compare apples to apples.
Name me the running backs that he had. Name me the running backs that he had in Indianapolis, Manny.
Nyheim Hines?
Frank Gore,
Nyheim Hines? Is Nyheim Hines there?
Yeah, Marlon Mack. But beside the end, Nyheim Hines, which is okay, but you're going to try and tell me that Nyheim Hines, Frank Gore, and Marlon Mack are better than Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? No, they're not.
But here's the thing. Again, you guys are jumping over the fact that he has to completely have drive.
Can I cut you off real quickly? This is actually one of the smartest comments I've read. Jeff, what if I tell you everyone is right and that is a huge problem? He's right. I mean, if we're going through, I don't think any of us have said anything that's wrong. That's the biggest issue that makes this evaluation so tough because you're getting to a point, and I think
look at Jeff.
Wow.
Look at Jeff.
Jeff at the end of the show bringing us all together. That's
like,
awesome,
so-
Jeff.
If you look like if we go like KFC, if you could give me a couple minutes to for further this point, like as I was getting to with roster construction, what this really sucks is that this is why 2019, when I look back at this era of Browns history, is really we're still paying for 2019. That was the year that, like, for example, you saw the Bengals go to the Super Bowl in their franchise quarterback's second year. That second to third year, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl in his second year. That's when you're supposed to take off. Mahomes made to the AFC Championship game in his second year, won the Super Bowl in his third year. That 5-year window of your rookie quarterback's deal is so important, and the Browns have done nothing but squander that window. It's useless. At this point, I'll be honest with you right now, I would be surprised if Myles Garrett is a Brown in 2024. I think he will be in 2023. In 2024, I think him and Nick Chubb will be off the roster.
Well,
And
so
we gave
I'll
gave
say
Matty
this.
G the final say, and go ahead.
I'll say this. So as much as I want to hate that, it's a possibility if they don't get Myles Garrett a good running mate next year. Because here's the thing, especially with rushing the passer, it makes no sense for Myles Garrett to do what he does, and then we still can't get pressure because they're just begging. They're begging for somebody else to make a play. And to Matty G's point, Andrew Berry is going to have to do a lot of gymnastics in terms of contracts because he has to figure out what he's going to do with Wills. You have to figure out Jack Conklin's contract, JJ3's contract, so on and so forth. So you have to figure out, okay, who are we going to keep? Who are we going to go after? But here's the thing. You need somebody either at defensive tackle or defensive end. And if they don't, like, what's the point of paying one guy $25 million and you still can't they have to find somebody to pair with him.
And the thing is with
work.
Myles Garrett, Mac, you can disagree with me. I think at this point you could probably trade Myles Garrett for 2 first-round picks and a starter somewhere else. You could get a lot out of Myles Garrett that you could kind of shape the team on. And before everyone starts calling us crazy, look at what the Chiefs did with Tyreek. They turned Tyreek into a bunch of picks. Karlaftis has been huge for him. Isaiah Pacheco has been huge for him. They use that to reload. I get that it's kind of painful, but this is kind of what
That's a different situation, Matty G. That's
no,
a
it's
different
not.
situation. Yes,
No,
it is.
it's
Because
not.
let me tell you
No, because they still have Chris Jones. They still have Chris.
You want to know? You want to know why? Because here's the thing: if you trade Tyreek Hill,
Well, they still have
you
Kelsey.
still have Patrick Mahomes for another 7 years, which you can re-up that way. You don't like with Myles Garrett. If you just send him away and get people in return, you're not getting another Myles Garrett for a very long time. For a very long time. So I'm saying, like, you might be just doing that and blowing the whole thing up, and on top of potentially firing Joe Woods, I think we're just it would be astronomically bad if we just blew it up like that. I don't think Myles Garrett. You should not be touching Myles Garrett.
So going back,
not at all. And
I don't think you should. But this is
yeah.
basically kind of where the Browns are at in my mind. And KFC, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. This is kind of where I think I get whatever. Like they're not trading Myles Garrett. Like say whatever. I don't think they trade him this season. I think it'll be the year after. They're kind of in a real no man's land because if they struggle next year with Watson, which is a legitimate possibility, it really is, and I think people need to be prepared for it. You know who the divisional schedule is right next year? They got the NFC West. And all 4 of those NFC West teams will give the Browns problems. All 4 of them.
Wait, NFC West? Are we talking about the Seahawks and 49ers and the Rams and the Cardinals?
Yeah, all 4
They're giving the Browns problems. Do you see how trash that division is?
I would pick the Browns to go 1-3 against them. I think the only team they would beat
the Cardinals.
No, I think they beat the Rams. They'd lose to the Cardinals. Kyler, if Kyler is healthy with that,
we don't have Baker under center. He's not losing. We don't have Baker under center. Okay, Kyler is Baker.
I'm telling you right now, the Cardinals defense is underrated.
And Seattle? You think we're losing to Seattle?
I do. Yeah, Kenneth Walker against our pathetic run defense, and that secondary that they re-upped this year with Kobe Bryant, Tariq Woodley, they're good. I'm telling you right now, this Browns team is not as good as we thought it was. It just isn't. And if we're being completely honest with you,
that's true.
I mean, let's be completely 1-3 with Watson. Yeah, Watson. I hate being this way. Watson went 4-12 with the Texans. If we're being completely honest, there's only so much he can do. In this team is not outside. Myles Garrett's a better JJ Watt, excuse me. But if we take away, if you take away the running game, which is a huge part, compare this team to that Texans team, and it's not that much different. It really isn't.
I mean, yeah, one good pass rusher, and then everybody else is just kind of spot. Yeah,
I mean, they had a couple solid guys in the secondary. We have one dominant offensive lineman with Tunsil, and that's Batonio. Like, if we're being honest, like, you might not like what I'm saying, but this team isn't.
The reason I don't like what you're saying is because it's unrealistic. If there might be a situation where we have the easiest schedule in the division next year. I can't fathom in my brain even how horrible this team was. Like this year, if you get Deshaun Watson for a full season with the easiest schedule in the division, and that 4-12 season, I got to look back because I got to see if they had the hardest division. I have to see if they had the hardest schedule in the division, which I think they did.
You're right.
So obviously, it's a little bit easier to go 4-12. 4-12 with this roster and the easiest schedule in the division.
I don't think unrealistic. 4-12, but what I'm saying is that them going 8-9 or 9-8 is a possibility. Here's the thing.
Look at the Ravens. They have the easiest schedule in the division, and they only have Lamar.
Yeah, but they got some
pieces
on
system.
Defense.
They have a system. That's the thing is the Browns don't have a system, and we have to be really honest about that defense. Like, let's truly go by player. Newsom's fallen off a cliff. He really has, and I don't know if that's because he's playing out of position. And that's unfortunate. Denzel Ward's not been great. He really hasn't been. You got a lot of money locked up in Denzel Ward.
He's played better this week.
Played better, but he has not been a $100 million corner. He's not been 100, not even close.
Yeah.
That route that he jumped. I mean, like, if we're being honest, we go position by position. Defensive tackle is a wasteland. You have nothing there. You're going to have to resort a lot of.
I mean, there's nothing outside of Myles Garrett. There's nothing like Clowney went out. So
Emerson.
We haven't even talked about Clowney. Clowney has a concussion, so he's out for at least 1, maybe 2 weeks. I haven't seen a player get a concussion this year and come back. Yeah. So now we have Alex Wright, who's been. I mean, we talked about earlier. He's been out of gaps. Like literally,
he's not been. He's not been.
I don't know if
he's been making some plays here and there.
He's been pretty bad.
He's been making some.
His last game, he was absolutely terrible.
He had a 29.
And Isaiah Thomas isn't that much better. You know what I mean? And it kind of goes back to my big point. I never want to see the Browns trade Myles Garrett, and realistically, I don't think they are. But and even in like 2 years down the road, but it doesn't make sense to me how, once again, and correct me if I'm wrong, but another year, it almost feels like they've wasted Myles by not giving him somebody good to play with. I mean, can you count last year? Of course, they were top 3 in terms of pressures among pass rushing duos, but they really need to get this guy a consistent running mate, and it's. Throw on the tape. I encourage anybody, any Browns fan out there, NFL Plus, it's $9 a month. Go rewatch some of these games and just take a look at Myles Garrett. And if he's not getting to the quarterback, nobody is. And it's just, it's maddening. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I want to angrily shout out to Andrew Berry. What's the point of having Myles Garrett if this is what we have to watch? Because it's almost like I want, as a human, I want Myles Garrett to have that kind of guy, and it's almost like I want to, I want him to like go somewhere where he has a teammate.
Yeah, let's be honest here. I don't think people underestimate with this era of player movement how likely potentially a Myles Garrett trade request is. Like, as much as people hate to say it, don't even bring up Watson. If he hates Joe Woods that much, if they bring back Joe Woods and the defense has completely lost faith in him, I would not put a trade request past Myles. And we haven't even gotten to Chubb yet, where I think past next year, I think it's questionable if Chubb's around for the simple reason Chubb's an under center running back and Watson's a shotgun quarterback. We saw how Chubb really, really struggles in the pass game. I mean, those 2 throws that Watson threw to him that he dropped, I mean, they weren't perfect throws, but he should have caught them. I'd expect an NFL player to catch them. Like, I don't like talking about these things, guys, but we have to be realistic that
still at 99 yards though. That's what I mean,
99 yards, but when you start looking at the salary cap implications, after next year, it's very easy to get out of Nick Chubb's contract. It's very, very
and easy. They structured it that way on purpose.
They did, where I think that you'll see, like, do you want a true Manny G hot take? I think the Browns are going to make an offer to Saquon Barkley. Because
Wait, to get to like, oh, through free agency?
Because I think if you look at how Saquon plays, he's a shotgun running back. He catches a lot of passes.
I don't think New York. The only thing with that, you know what I mean.
I don't think New
if
York
there was
lets him go.
legitimate,
I don't know if he lets him.
no
go,
chance.
If he's out on the market, it wouldn't shock me if they made a call because I don't think Kareem Hunt's back. I think if you look to have 1 year of Chubb and Saquon, then eventually Saquon and Jerome.
I will say, Saquon went to Whitehall High School about 20 minutes away from here, and I have friends that know him, and he didn't want to be drafted to Cleveland. So that's my gripe against Saquon Barkley. His friends told me that he didn't want to be drafted to Cleveland at all. So I'm thinking in my head,
I didn't want to come here. I'm curious.
I think it was because of the roster. Personally, that's what he said. But I think I was getting the implications that he is from New York. Originally before he moved here for high school. So I think
he wanted to play for the Jets.
Giants. So, and if you had to choose between New York and Cleveland, I think that from his perspective, he'd rather go to New York route. So I don't know if he would come here with the roster being better, but again, I digress with that.
What's up?
So the picture of Njoku hurdling the guy?
Yeah.
You can see me in it.
No way.
Yeah.
Please post that to the Down with the Browns.
Yeah, I'm right there. In the corner in the white jacket.
That is so sick. That is so sick.
That's
please
cool.
repost that. Please repost that to the page so the listeners on the podcast can see that picture. Zoom in. Take a couple of.
I'll screenshot a couple.
Yeah.
That's sick. Before we finish this up, I want to go back to the Kevin Stefanski thing. I think we can talk about all these stats and analytics, but I think the first person they're gonna go to and ask this offseason if they should move on from Kevin Stefanski is Deshaun Watson. I believe
he may say yes. You don't know.
If he says yes,
true.
They will put more weight into his decision than anybody else's.
Oh yeah, no.
Jimmy's
going to get he's going to get the thrown out. Watson's going to be carried around this facility. On a 4-pillared chair. It's 100%. Haslam is asking Deshaun Watson before.
Well, that's what he did with Baker back in the 2019 search.
Yeah, and also, guys, the one thing I do want to say, Matty G does have sources, and sources have told me, whether you want to hear it or not, Jimmy Haslam has done background work on Jim Harbaugh since this time last year. Very similar to how they did background work on Watson, and he's fascinated by him, and he has been for a while.
And that is a hot take.
And the thing is whether you want to hear it or not, let's remember something. Watson was all interested all of a sudden to go into the Minnesota Vikings last year out of nowhere. He's like there was reports going Watson's really interested in going to Minnesota. Doesn't make any sense. But what was going on in Minnesota last year?
Jim Harbaugh.
They were
head coach.
They were talking to Jim Harbaugh. I think, guys, I'll be completely honest with you. If I was a betting man and you put a gun to my head right now, I think it's 50-50 between Harbaugh and Stefanski. Because remember, Harbaugh also, Manny, before you start laughing, Harbaugh grew up a Browns fan. The Harbaughs are from Cleveland. And stuff before you say this stuff, doesn't matter. When you talk about legacy building, and Harbaugh's a big ego guy. As 3 Ohio State fans in the room, we know Harbaugh kind of fancies himself. If Michigan wins the national championship this year, which I believe they will, why would he has no reason to stay there. And what's better?
Well, also, if he has a first round exit, that's more motivation anyway. Either I would say I think it's flipped. If he loses that first round, he's going to say, why stay another year? Obviously Ohio State's going to come roaring back next year. So I think if he wins a championship, that's going to be his key to go even further into recruiting and just get more.
Maybe, but even then, think about it though. If you win a championship, he can go out on top. He'll be a hero on Michigan. That's the thing is, he has a history of turning around programs. Harbaugh is all about legacy. I've said this for the longest time. The one thing that the Browns job does have that's interesting, who is the head coach that can come in and resurrect the Browns franchise? Whoever does that as a one-way path to the Hall of Fame. You know that as well as I do, and that's a selling point. And whether we like it or not, Harbaugh was great with Kaepernick. And the other thing, as we kind of get ready to start wrapping up the show, fellas, there's been all this talk this year about a lack of discipline and a lack of discipline on the Browns. Stefanski suspending Grant Delpit for a single play because, oh no, that might impact a roster bonus like 5 years down the line. Oh no, him sitting out the first play of the game against the Dolphins or whatever. That type of stuff's not going to happen on a Jim Harbaugh team because, quite frankly, I think Jim Harbaugh would have cut Delpit 3 weeks ago. Probably would have.
Well, the thing I do like about Harbaugh was he started taking that OSU Michigan rivalry pretty seriously. In the past 2, he's pretty much owned Ohio State the last 2 games. So he takes a lot of, like you said, he is pretty disciplined. I do like disciplined head coaches. So, I mean, if they do fire Stefanski, that's who I hope they go after.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I don't think they will, just off the sheer fact
They
of
won't.
Yeah.
They won't.
That
the-
league menu.
that coming out kind of was like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not happening.
Hey, we're good show, boys. Good show. Fantastic show.
Heck yeah.
We'll have our better ones for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you just got down with the Browns, baby.
Yes, sir.
Go
Go Browns.
Go Browns.